Thank you so much for taking the time. You're brand new Bear.
I am. I am.
The last time I actually spoke about you before in this room. I was talking to your Houston coach, Kristen Vesley, because I was
Mhm.
getting ready to do the Big 12 tournament, and the one word she used to describe you, dynamic. What makes you a dynamic player and a dynamic person?
I think I would say as a player, because I'm a catcher that can do like multiple things. That's not too often you see that. So I think that's what makes me a dynamic player. In person, I just feel like I can, get along with multiple types of people, and I think I'm like a middleman for the team. So I'm excited to bring that here to Baylor.
That's a huge like you basically you're like a glue type person.
Hmm.
You keep the team together. How do you find yourself in a role like that? What kind of traits lend itself to somebody who's one of those people who can be the glue?
I think I'm very like a chill, relaxed person. So somebody who doesn't get too high, too low. So I think that what really helps me play that role because I can stay neutral and help both sides and help everybody out.
You played 55 games last year. How does one on your knees as a catcher? How do you sustain that kind of schedule and continue to show up and go out and play?
Just being there for my team is the major thing that I was trying to do. I know that, I was really all we had. So, I had to come out and that's what my team needed me to do. And so I'm always going to do what my team needed me to do. And on the back end, just keeping my body safe and doing all the extra precautions that I needed to do for my body was very important as well.
Take me through the transition. It can't be. It's always interesting for any of us to start a new job, go to a new school, to transfer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you transfer. You're coming into. I would imagine you know a lot of the athletes here
Mm-hmm.
just from playing against them. But what is that like personally? You're from Houston,
Mm-hmm.
right? You went to Oklahoma to start out. Then you go to Houston. Now you're taking your talents to Baylor. You're here in Waco. What is it like to transfer to a new place?
Well, I think this round was a little easier since it's not my first rodeo. But I mean, I think just being open to, learning new things, learning new skills from different types of people. And I really enjoy it. I mean, I wouldn't say I enjoy like just transferring, hopping around, but like just learning from new people is always a good thing. You always have room to learn. So, I mean, I enjoy it and I've enjoyed the girls so far here. So I'm excited.
Yeah, that's a pretty interesting point you bring up. At the end of the day, you all have played for Patty Gasso, Kristen Vesley, and Glenn Moore.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
What have you learned so far? I know it's been a short time, but
Hmm.
what have you learned from Glenn Moore here?
I mean, just so far what I've learned from him and what the girls have taught me, like he seems to be a really great coach, and I want to be a coach in the future. So just learning from different coaches and their different standpoints is I think is just great, and so learning his philosophy and how he likes to run his team is just really interesting to see because that's some things that I can take with me, on my coaching journey as well.
What have you learned about yourself throughout your college softball career and throughout your time as a student?
I think that I could be a really great coach just because that I am so neutral and so calm. And I'd definitely be a player's coach, be there for the players because that's what I wanted my coaches to do for me. So I think, I've learned a lot about myself over the time, and I can't wait to just, teach it to younger athletes to watch them improve and watch them in college as well.
Folks that don't know softball or baseball might not understand the relationship between the catcher and the pitcher.
Hmm.
How do you forge strong relationships with pitchers? They have to trust you.
Hmm.
You have to be able to settle them down when they're in moments or tense situations. How do you establish relationships with them?
I think the first thing is just gaining their trust off the field. Just learning them as people and learning their aneurysms and how they like to go about. Everybody likes to be talked to differently, so learning those things are very important on the front end. And so once you have that relationship with the pitchers, when you call timeout in the middle of the game, you know what to say. Some people like to joke, some people like to be a little bit more serious. So, and that's what I'm trying to learn right now just to see what they like and what, because the pitcher is the queen, so what they want they're gonna get. So
Yeah.
I'm just learning to see what they like and what they want, because all the pitchers I've caught, they're all different. So yeah,
Was there
that's it.
something about you and your life growing up where you became everybody? It's not every day you meet somebody who's actually an observer, who actually is paying attention to what's going on with someone else. Where do you think you got that trait from?
My dad, he taught me at a very young age to just pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to everything, because you have to know what's going on around you in your life. So he definitely taught me how to pay attention, sit back and watch, because you learn way more than to be going at it in action. So yeah, he definitely taught me that.
Are you good with directions?
Kind of,
Okay.
yeah. I have to be
I'm
like in
terrible
the
with
driver's
directions.
seat.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, if I'm in the passenger seat, I have no idea where we're going.
Yeah, no, good observers, I would imagine you're good with directions because you're kind of paying attention to what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Where do you see yourself? You're because we talk about it now. You can play softball professionally. You can play for a long time. Where do you see yourself after your softball career as a coach? And if you're a coach, where do you want to be coaching, and what exactly do you want to be doing?
So I think I want to start off at the high school level. I went to a high school that our softball team wasn't very good. And so as a player, that taught me a lot, and how to, work with my team and just be patient with my team, because, they're not all at the same level as I am. So I think that is really what made me want to start at the high school level. So I definitely want to start there, coach softball. But I do eventually want to be in a club organization field, so that I can teach the younger kids. I really enjoy the kids that are just starting off. And not everybody has to go to this big college, and so I do want to teach some girls that that your dreams don't you can still shoot for dreams, but sometimes you don't have to go to the big D1s, big D2s. So I definitely want to, attack those girls, just to show them that they can do it. So yeah, I have a lot of goals when it comes to coaching, and so yeah.
You grew up in the city of Houston.
hmm
How do you find softball growing up in the inner city? It's not as accessible as it is in other parts of America or Texas, to be specific. How did you find it?
So funny story. My cousin, they were playing in this rec league, and so then I was trying every sport possible, and I didn't really look softball's way. And so they just asked me one day, do you want to try it out? We're starting this league. You can try it out. And so, I decided to try it out, and it kind of went from there. I made the all-star team, and then, I started to get into club, and, I found some great organizations to start me off, and it took off from there.
How important is it to you to be able to pass on, to younger versions of you, the sport of softball in areas where they may not find it all that accessible?
Mm-hmm. It's very important. And so I do want to start a facility later on in my life, just for the girls in the Houston area, because I feel like I go to so many facilities and things like that, and they're not the greatest, and they're not really targeting the girls that I want to target. So I do want to start a facility just to, bring those girls to light and show them that, they can still play softball and still make it far in the softball world. I always tell my dad that there's so many other states that have these big organizations and big facilities for their softball athletes to go see, college athletes and all sorts of stuff like that. So I definitely want to start that in the Houston area.
When you look back at yourself, as a younger girl growing up, when did you know that the sport of softball was something that you could do for a while? Was there a moment?
Well, I wouldn't say there's a moment. Well, the moment that Coach Gasso kind of reached out to me was the moment that I was like, okay, I'm actually kind of good.
Yeah.
So I think that time there in my life, I really realized that, okay, I'm good enough to, go to one of these big schools. Because before then I was kind of just playing just for fun. I was athletic. So I was like, you know what, I'm kind of good at this. So that was really a turning point in my life. But
how does your family respond when you get one of the best coaches in all the world coming and saying, "I'd like your daughter to come play for me for free"?
Yeah, so my coach told me before I was gonna get the call that like this is happening, and so I was telling mom like I have to commit, like come on now, I have to commit. And she was like, well, we should look at other things. I was like, nope, I'm doing it, mom, I'm doing it. So I kind of had to talk her into it. My dad was on board, like he is all for it.
It's an amazing journey. When you talk about your life off the field, what do you do as far as if there's a day off? What do you find yourself doing? Because it's not often you have a day off.
No. So I love to binge shows. I do. I love to binge shows.
What are you watching?
But
anything in particular right now?
I'm about to start the FBI show, the SWAT.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm about to start that. A lot of people told me to watch that, and so I can watch it in like a week. Like on any free time I have, I will cook and watch. Like I'm all for binging the show. But I also am very creative. Like I like to bake. I just got into like coloring. Just things that brings you peace. The calm during the storm. So I
slowing down.
Yeah.
What do you like to bake?
Cakes. I love to bake cakes, and I like to decorate them. I actually baked my sibling's 5th birthday cake. So yeah, that was very fun.
How about cooking? What's your go-to meal to produce for someone?
Definitely spaghetti. I love to cook spaghetti. It's just an easy, simple meal, and it packs a lot of flavor. So that's definitely one of my go-to things to cook.
Do you ever think that you'll bring a cake to the facility to share with your teammates this year? Have you ever shared baked goods with teammates?
I have in the past, and so once they asked one of my fun facts, and I said that, they were like, okay, let's go baking competitions, and so we're already planning that. So we'll see how that goes.
What's something about you that people will be surprised to know?
I think the biggest thing is that I'm a baker. People don't really perceive me as that way. I'm a very quiet and conservative person. So when they see I like to do things like that, they're like, really? So that shocks a lot of people actually.
What do you listen to before a game? There's sometimes some people will listen to music to get excited. Mm-hmm. Some people will listen to music to get in the right frame of mind. You're getting ready to go play a game. It's an hour before, half hour. What are you listening to?
So I have 2 playlists. It's either rod wave or gospel. There's no really in between. It's it's either one or the other.
Okay,
and so it's whatever I'm feeling that day.
Rod wave or gospel. Have you looked at the results from after you listen to rod wave as compared to gospel? You ever think of that?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. It's just whatever I'm feeling in the mood for that day. It's either that playlist or that playlist. And I have so many songs in those playlists. I just hit remix and we'll see how it goes.
You obviously have had a lot of success. When you talk about on the field and off the field, what is one of your prouder moments that doesn't have anything to do with softball? Something you've done that's been fulfilling for you that you look forward to doing again?
I think the biggest thing that fulfills me outside of softball are my siblings. So I'm the oldest of 4, and I know they look up to me a lot. So just being able to be there for them, and for coming out here, I'm a little further from them, and they're all fairly young. So just being able to go back and watch some of their games and things of that nature is really important to me, because I know they're looking up to me, and I know they're watching me. So I just want to be the best big sister for them.
Does the fact that you're the big sister, I don't want to use the word pressure, but do you feel a responsibility to do the right things?
For sure. Because I know my little brother for sure, he watches everything I do. So he is a righty, but because he watched so many of my games, me swinging left, he just grew a lefty swing. And so that's how he swings. So I know yes, that's how he swings. So I know that he looks at me so in depth to ways you wouldn't even think. So everything I do, I try to show them the right thing, and just to be the right big sister for them.
It's clear that you're close to your family, mm-hmm. which is something that's it's just really cool to hear. You've had a lot of positive moments. If you get a phone call, or I'm sorry, something good happens to you, who's your first phone call? Who do you call?
I always look on Life 360 to make sure they're all in the same setting, and then I'll FaceTime my mom to get them all on the phone, because I used to call them separately, and then it's like, wait, I didn't get that line. Like she, so I'm like, you know what? I started like, we're gonna do this all at the same time. Make sure everybody's in the camera, everybody can hear, and then I give the news.
That's pretty awesome. You're well thought out.
Yeah.
Are you a planner?
Oh, for sure, sure. Yeah, I like to plan things out, and I want to do things perfectly. So I definitely pay attention to things like that.
Well, is baseball a tough sport? Because baseball, we talk about it, right? If you are a 300 hitter, that's really good. You're not going to be perfect playing baseball. Do you find yourself being hard on yourself?
Sometimes, and I just have to remind myself like that is good. I kind of set myself at a little higher standard. To me, I'm like, okay, I need to bat 400, 450, and I know 300 is good, but it's like I just set myself at like a higher pedestal. I just want better for myself, so I do that a lot.
Talk about yourself. What's something that sports has taught you about yourself as a young person? Something you didn't know, especially before you got super competitive, right? At the level, you've been in the Big 12 for years now.
Mm-hmm. I think just telling myself that I can do it. I won't be doing it this year, obviously, but I wore 42 most of my career, all of my travel ball career. So just knowing that, girls like me can play at the highest level is very important to me. So, and at one point, I didn't think I could. And so I know there are a lot of girls who look like me who don't think they can. And so just learning that over the time was a big thing for me.
Yeah, I was lucky enough when I told you about doing the Big 12 that I got to do it with Natasha Wiley. Mm-hmm. She's from Los Angeles. She has brought softball to communities there where they don't even know it's a sport.
Yeah.
Is that a mission that we've talked about it a little bit, but how do you see yourself being able to do that with that facility you mentioned?
Yeah, just being an advocate in the facility. And I know at some other facilities they allow the professionals to, come and train in that facility. So young girls who come get to see the professionals, see them in action, see how they train, and learn from them. And so I kind of want to build that kind of, camaraderie where, the professionals that live in the Houston area, because a lot of them don't have anywhere to go. Like they go to like a college or things of that nature, but just allowing them to come to my facility, train there, and then the little girls that are there to learn, they can learn from those girls as well.
That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really, really good idea. What's the best movie you've seen lately?
I'm not a big movie person.
How about a new show? A new show.
I just finished watching The Resident. That was a very good.
I love that.
Yeah, that was a very good show.
Okay.
And so I just got into it, and I didn't realize it's so much like Grey's Anatomy, and I love Grey's Anatomy. So I binged that show, and now I'm upset that it's over.
That's when you have a good show.
Yeah.
When you're thinking, man, I don't want this to end.
Yeah. So I might go back and rewatch that, but that was a really good show. And we just, a few of us, a few weeks ago went and saw It Ends With Us, and that was a pretty good movie as well. So
you liked it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was a really good movie.
Anything else about you that you want people to know that we haven't mentioned yet?
So my new number is 47 this year. 42 is taken. And so I don't want people to think that I'm going away from Jackie Robinson. 1947 was the year he broke the color barrier. And so that's why I chose to, wear number 47 to just live that on.
Yeah, we flaked on that. So you wore 42. I should have known that because of Jackie Robinson.
Yes.
And now it's 47 because that's when he broke the color barrier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's, like you said, you're a pretty good planner. That's very well
Me and my
thought
dad kind of schemed that out.
Yeah, that's great to know.
Yeah.
All right, thank you so much for taking time with us today. I mean, I know you're brand new in town, and it means a lot.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Yeah.
We are Rogue Media Sports.